What is going on, guys? This is Kevin. In today's video, I want to discuss one of the principles that has had some of the biggest impact in my life. I've been meaning to make this video for a long time, but I was always afraid that I wouldn't be able to clearly communicate the information that I want to communicate with you guys. So I was always kind of a perfectionist about it. But you know what? I know that there's going to be at least one person out there that's going to watch this video and it's going to get a lot out of it. So it's not fair for me to just kind of be afraid to put it out there. So I'm going to make the video today. Now, I just finished my college soccer career and I was lucky enough to play against some of the best teams and some of the best players in the country. I got to play a couple times against Michigan State, who just went to the Final Four. I got to play against Michigan, who won the Big Ten. I got to play against University of Kentucky, who were ranked number 12 at the time. And I got to play with some fantastic players in college. I also played academy at the highest level. I played against LA Galaxy, who ended up winning the national championship. So I didn't get to play at the highest level because I was the most talented guy. I was always someone who was really driven and who worked really hard, and the reason why I was able to stay so driven is because I set goals, and that's what I want to talk about today. I think if you can master this principle, you will have a lot of success no matter what talent level you have, no matter where you are. If you can master the art of goal setting and all the process that goes with it, you will have a lot of success. So there was a really fascinating study that was done in a Harvard MBA class, and they asked an entire class if they set goals, and I think 84% of the class said they didn't set any goals. I think 13% of the class said that they set goals but they didn't write it down. And I think 3% of the class said they set goal and written them down. Now they looked back at these individuals 10 years later and found out that the 13% of people who had goals were making twice as much money as the people who didn't have any goals. And they also looked further and they saw that the 3% of people who had written goals were making 10 times as much money as the rest of the 97% combined. There's something very powerful about not only having goals but also writing them down in your own handwriting. I did this when I wanted to make my academy team. I did this when I wanted to play for my college team, and I did it before this season. I wrote down on a piece of paper, I want to have my best season ever. I want to play more games than I've ever played before. I want to have my most successful college year, and it did happen. Now, before we dive further on goal setting, there are two things I think you should do before you set goals. One is to be grateful for what you have already. Be grateful for everything in your life. Be grateful for the skills that you already have. Be grateful for where you are right now. If you have a house, you have parents, you have family, you're a lot luckier than a lot of people. There are a lot of people who do not have a lot of things that you have. No matter what situation you think you might be in, you might think that, oh my goodness, other people are better off than me. That is not true. You need to look at what you have, focus on what you have, and be grateful for it. The second thing is to reflect on your previous year, reflect on your previous experience. You know, what did you do well, what could you have done better? Learn from your mistakes. So those are the two things that I think you should do before you set new goals. Now, when you are setting new goals, there are 5 things I want you to consider, and to make it simple, there's a really popular acronym called the SMART goal acronym, and S stands for specific. So have specific goals. Like, what exactly do you want to do? If you say your goal is to become a better soccer player, that is way too vague. What does being a better soccer player mean? It could be that you're better than a rec soccer player. It could be that you are better than a professional soccer player. It could be that you're better than Messi. What exactly does it mean? I think that's too much of a vague goal. You need to come up with something specific. Like, I want to score X amount of goal by the end of the season. That's very specific. My goal was, I want to play Division 1 soccer. Very specific. I know exactly what being a Division 1 soccer player looked like, and I could know when I got there. Now, M stands for measurable, and it can be kind of tricky here because a goal such as the one I had to play Division 1 soccer, it can be kind of hard to measure. You know, there's nothing to count there, you know. But one way you can measure that is, how are you doing with your club team? How are you doing with your high school team? Are you doing what's necessary? Maybe you can talk to your coaches and find out, you know, where you need to be at, you know, to be at the level of a Division 1 player. And if something a little bit easier to measure would be, hey, I want to score 10 goals this season. You can count the goals, very easy to measure, but you want to set a goal that is somewhat easy to measure. Say I want to be a good player. There's no way to measure that. What does good mean, right? Again, you cannot measure that very well. Now, the A stands for achievable, and this is a little bit sensitive because I don't want to tell you to not go for your dreams and not go for whatever you want to achieve, because I truly believe that if you really want to do something, if you really want to achieve something and you're willing to go all in, you really can do it. But at the same time, you want to set a goal that's achievable, because if you set a goal that's unrealistic, you're not going to be very motivated. You're not really going to deep inside believe in yourself, and deep inside you're not going to be willing to do the stuff that it takes. For example, if I say I want to become an NBA player today, that is not realistic for me. I'm 5'7", never played basketball at a competitive level, and even if I truly try to believe and try to set that goal and try to go all in, I'm really not going to deep inside believe that I can achieve that, because it probably won't happen. But if your goal is to play for Barcelona and you're a soccer player, you've been playing at a competitive level, it's probably possible. You probably can do it, but I really believe that you should start by setting a goal that's a little bit more within reach first, and then maybe set that as your ultimate goal. So maybe your first goal might be, hey, I want to sign for an academy, I want to sign for a development academy. But set goals that you truly can believe that you can achieve. If you just are playing select soccer or recreational soccer and you say you want to play for Barcelona, it's going to be very hard to wake up in the morning and train at that level if you're like that far away from your goal. So I really believe that you should set realistic, achievable goals first. The R stands for relevant, which basically means that why is this goal important to you? Why is it meaningful to you? For example, if you want to make your varsity high school team because you want everyone in the school to think that you're cool, hey, I'm on the varsity team, whatever, look at me, I guarantee you're going to have a hard time achieving that goal. You're much better off having a reason such as, hey, I want to make myself proud, I want to make my parents proud, I'm just a really competitive person and that's why I want to play at the highest level. Hey, I want to prove all the haters wrong. You will be a lot more motivated by those things than you would by fame, money, and all that kind of stuff. E stands for time bound. So basically, you need to have a time by which you need to achieve your goal by. Say I want to become a professional soccer player. That doesn't have any limit. When would that be? Could it be in 10 years, whatever? And I'm probably going to procrastinate it because, oh, I'm just going to do it next year. You need to have a time by which you're going to achieve your goal. You need to have a time by which you're going to achieve your goal. And that's really going to help motivate you, help hold you accountable. That is very important for goal setting. I had for last year, first, I forgot to mention earlier in the video, you want to identify your values first before you set your goals. So my values are love, discipline, commitment, creativity, and connection. So I set my goals according to those values. And in 2018, I told myself that I wanted to strengthen my relationships. I want to have the best season that I've ever had. I want to grow my coaching company Evolution, and after that I set specific goals which were to play 10 games in the fall season. I didn't want to miss more than one practice or game due to injury because that's something that I struggled with before, and I wanted to have 100 subscribers by November 15. So after you set all your goals, you need to start setting process goals. So how you're going to achieve the goals that you set. And my process goals were to get more than 7.5 hours of sleep every night, because that's something I really struggled with before. I want to make sure I take an ice bath every night after practice. I want to make sure I meditate every day, and I want to make sure that I got 3 hours of pro time at least 3 hours of pro time per week, which meant either going outside early before practice, watching mental training videos, or doing prehab and all that kind of stuff that were going to help me become a better soccer player. Alright guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the video here. I just want to remind you, the most successful people on earth, they have a vision, they know where they want to go, and that keeps them very driven, and that allows them to do the work that it takes. So set some goals, again, follow those principles that we've talked about, and I promise that you're going to have a lot of success. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future, and I'll see you guys next time.